inside a swimming pool in the middle of a party. One guy is still missing.
וואו, יש בולען בבריכה, כפרה.
I still can't believe that Switzerland banned motor racing because of an accident in another country.
Yeah, it's like Britain banning railways because a train crashed in India.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's like America invading Iraq because some Saudi Arabians destroyed the World Trade Center. What? Did I say that out loud?
That came out.
Did I?
That came out as sound.
Yeah, well, never mind.
Bro, you recording me? No, don't record.
Is everybody just blind to the fact that we're just being sold chemicals in literally every aspect of our lives? Grocery stores, chemicals. Hair products, chemicals. Toothpaste and deodorant, chemicals. Like, you do realize that we can make all of these things from like natural plants and resources.
Button for a year.
Well, it's a tricky situation. And it's incredibly complex.
Yeah, it's a good one, indeed. I mean, we don't even have an app that's as good as WeChat in China. And like in China, you can like live on WeChat, basically. Yeah. It's like, yeah, everyone's like, you live on WeChat, you do payments, you do everything. It's like, yeah, it's great. Basically, WeChat's kick ass. And we don't have anything like WeChat outside of China. So I was like, my idea would be like, how about if we just copy WeChat? Hey. Copy them.
Buys Twitter, copies WeChat.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes.
I love the internet's great, and I love social media. You know, but like every other industry in the United States, it has to be regulated. If you don't regulate it,
but who regulates it?
The government.
Do you trust the government to regulate the internet?
Absolutely.
You trust the people that got us into the Iraq war under false pretenses to regulate the internet? Do you think that makes any sense?
Well, wait a minute. I would not. The people who got us into the Iraq war.
It's the government.
Was the politicians.
It's the government.
In the end, yes, it's the government. But who else is going to regulate?
But if they're going to be in power and they're regulating the internet, they're going to regulate the internet in a way that suits their best interests. The same way they do with the banking industry, the same way they do with the environment, the same way they do with energy. The same way they do with everything.
No,
what represents their interests? There's you're talking about so much money involved in disseminating information in a very particular way.
The richest companies in the world right now are the internet companies are rich beyond belief.
Yeah, but it's a disruptive thing that has never existed before. I think it exists, and I think where we're at is where we're at. I think we need to move forward collectively as a country with an ethic that respects truth and that it appreciates opinions and reality and an understanding of things that's not necessarily possible with corporate interest involved in the dissemination of information.
But there's no way to do that except through the government. There's no way that you can do that except through the government.
Why is that?
Human nature is not going to change.
But the government's not going to change either.
But the government is capable of change. Okay, look, the government regulates, for example, the food supply. Or can regulate. Let's take the
food supply.
Yeah, the Department of Agriculture.
Why have they let glyphosate infestate all of our foods?
Let's take one thing.
Yeah, but that's a problem. That's the government regulating.
Well, then we better get better politicians in them to appoint better people. I mean, it's not again. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Right.
Okay. So let's take the SEC or take the Food and Drug Administration, which regulates big pharma. On the one hand, we've got a very safe supply of drugs in this country. You know,
safe.
Drugs are tested. You know, you don't get too many bad drugs. You know, prescribed drugs.
25% of all drugs approved by the FDA get recalled.
So Elon Musk is in the building. He's controlling Twitter. Management is out. He's ready to fire 75% of the company. My question is to Congress. Now that Twitter has become a superpower, utility-like figure giving millions of people information every day, are you wishing you regulated them?
Jared and sitting with Josh and finding out other pieces of information, I was like, wow, these guys might have really been holding Trump back and being very much a handler right then. They love to just look at me or look at Trump like we're so crazy and that they're the businessmen. So when I think about all of these things that Jared, you know, somehow doesn't get enough credit for with his work, and what is it, his work in Israel or his work in Palestine? What is this? You know where he made these peace treaties? Where was that? Do you know the facts on this right here? So I'm like...
Well, I think that was between Israel and some of the Arab nations.
I just think it was to make money. I don't know. Is that too heavy-handed to put on this platform?
No, that's your opinion. We're not in the censorship business.
Okay, thank you. And I just think that that's what they're about, is making money. I don't think that they have the ability to make anything on their own. I think they were born into money. And for me, as a maverick and a talent and a person that's been, you know,
Hey, celebrity prostitutes, bribed politicians, controlled media whores, thug law enforcers on a power trip, and indoctrinated allopathic drug pushers. We don't want your shitty, dangerous, killer, fertility-damaging, experimental quackscenes. We don't want your discriminatory, segregational passport system, nor your Stepford wife social credit system. We don't join cults. We aren't germaphobes. We know how to read statistics. We know how to think for ourselves. And we know what narcissistic abuse looks like. We don't want to be China. You don't govern us. We know the law. And we claim our birthrights. Frankly, we're moving on without you. The trance-like hypnotic suggestions and brainwashing just didn't take with us. We aren't of a fluoride stare, TV-level adolescent mind who falls prey to drama and peer pressure. So you can prance around with your drolling, repetitive, embarrassing, and flailing advertising campaign all you like. But to us, it reeks of desperation, shows us what pathological liars you are, and only highlights those sellouts who have sold their souls to the agenda. But good luck. You're gonna need it.
This fucks up my plan. This is fucking bullshit. Okay? These fucking assholes, these fucking assholes! The fuck is their problem, man? This is fucking typical bullshit!
Proposal 2 in the state of Michigan will eliminate transparency in our elections here in the state of Michigan. Let me show you. It's their website, Promote the Vote 2022, right here. Provide that only election officials may conduct post-election audits. Meaning that transparency is gone. Only the election officials, the politicians, have the ability to take a look at our election records, our public election records, to make sure that they are accurate. No one wants this. No one truly wants to vote for this if they know what this is. Share this, duet it, get it out there, let people know this is super extreme. Why would we take away the right of people to find out if our elections were accurate and transparent? That's exactly what Proposal 2 does. Vote no.
I'm not no Black Lives Matter supporter. Like,
you're not?
No, absolutely.
Why not?
Because it's not our movement. This is a movement that was given to us by, you know, George Soros and his fucking boys. Because they saw how things were going and they didn't want it to go back to the 60s to where we start having our own organic movements. That was a big fucking problem for them. So let's give the people a movement that we can control. We'll provide them the leaders and all of this type of shit. And yeah, that's what Black Lives Matter is. Look at the leaders of Black Lives Matter.
Are there leaders of Black Lives Matter?
Yeah. Who? Look at these lesbian women who are trying to incorporate, you know, LG, whatever the fuck the letters are, incorporate their concerns into black people's concerns. Go to the website, look it up.
Do you think the president matters? No. who the president is?
Well, I think Trump mattered because he was the last bastion of resistance to the shadow figures who truly run the world. I think now, from here on out, it's never going to matter because whoever's in there is in there because he has people above him who he complies with. That's what I believe. I believe Trump was the last hope of a president who actually had ideas and actually cared. Putin said this. Have you seen the clip of Putin? Putin said this in an interview. They said, what do you think of Trump? And he said, I've been through 3 United States presidents. You can Google this yourself, gentlemen. He said, I've been through 3 U.S. presidents, and they all have amazing ideas. But the ideas don't get implemented because people don't understand how strong the bureaucracy of America is. When the people with the dark suits arrive and explain to him how things are really done, his ideas will not come to fruition. Putin said himself, the president has people above him telling him what to do. Putin knows it. Everyone knows it, right? Trump's the first guy who said, no, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And they just attacked him with their propaganda machine. A non-stop onslaught of attack to program and brainwash people. And on top of that, they still rigged it because he was still winning. That's what's really happening in the world today. When you look at things like Corona and all these other things, it's all an attack on the freedom of individuals because the people in charge of the world now understand that they can no longer control us via propaganda and they have to remove our freedoms. And to remove our freedoms, there's only one thing you can remove. You can only remove freedom and replace it with one thing humans will accept, and that's safety. You won't be free anymore, but you'll be safe. I promise. Give me all your freedom. You don't need to own anything. Give it all to me, but I'll keep you safe.
Oh, it's the whole idea of the government's coming to save you.
It's the only thing that stupid people will accept.
Crazy to not be able to say that I like Trump. It drove, because think about it, it's me. Imagine me not being able to say what I wanted. What was the point of being famous? What was the point of having, millions of people love your music? What was the point of having a voice if you can't even use your own voice and connect it to your own opinions? I never actually told people that I liked Trump when he was running because I was bullied by Hollywood.
The United States has undergone a corporate coup d'etat in slow motion. It is no longer a functioning democracy. The real centers of power in the corporate, military, and national security sectors were humiliated and embarrassed by WikiLeaks. Their war crimes, lies, conspiracies to crush the democratic aspirations of the vulnerable and the poor, and rampant corruption here and around the globe were laid bare in troves of leaked documents. We cannot fight on behalf of Julian unless we are clear about who we are fighting against. It is far worse than a corrupt judiciary. The global billionaire class who have orchestrated a social inequality rivaled by pharaonic Egypt has internally seized all of the levers of power and made us the most spied upon, monitored, watched, and photographed population in human history. When the government watches you 24 hours a day, you cannot use the word liberty. This is the relationship between a master and a slave.